what is so sad with liberals? Um, they will team up because they think that they're being, given a great opportunity to get their agenda across. Whether it's minorities, whether it's immigration, what have you. So this is Kathleen Taylor. Okay, now some of you might say, well, how do you know she's a feminist, or that she is bisexual or lesbian? Well, there's it's really the nuances here. There's a difference between a woman with short hair that's cut like a woman and a woman with short hair that's cut like a man. There's a difference between a woman who talks somewhat like a man and a woman who's very intentionally so talking like a man. Now listen, and also pay attention to the eugenics. I think it's about around 1 minute you'll hear the eugenics reference. I don't want you people to miss that at all. Oxford University, and her argument is so stupid. Okay, I'll just look for the part where she says you have very little control over cruelty, as if how you're raised has nothing to do with it. And there's a reason why they're going in this direction. There's a definite reason why they're going in this direction. As if environmental factors have nothing to do with it. There's a reason. This eugenics, it's also to break down the family. If they can downplay the importance of how you're reared, how you're raised, then they can help. It will help them justify having the state raise your children. But we'll get to that in a moment.
Hello, my name's Kathleen Taylor, and I've written a book about cruelty. The first thing that people normally ask me when I tell them this is, why on earth did you write a book about such a horrible topic? And I say, well, it is a horrible topic, but it's also really, really important, because although most cruelty is minor, and of course minor cruelty affects us all, some cruelty is very extreme. Now, you might say, okay, sure, but that's rare. Normally I'm not going to worry because I'm not going to be affected. But the trouble is that you as a victim or a potential victim have very little control over whether you will be affected by, for example, war, terrorist atrocities, even a serial killer. That's the sort of thing I'm talking about, the extreme cruelty of atrocities. Okay? So you have very little control, if you like, over whether you're going to be a victim. Perhaps more troubling is that you have very little control over whether you're going to be a perpetrator. And that's worrying.
Okay, now, you see what she said. You have very little trouble over whether you're going to be a perpetrator, and that's worrying. This is a wolf in sheep's clothes, Fabian Society style. Okay, now I also want to point out that some people have described her, that guy from the Pac-Man show described her as, a biologist, and this is very misleading. Okay, because everything that she's saying and that that is out there publicly, the most public things that I've ever heard her say, the only things I've ever heard her saying was things that have to do with neuropsychology. Okay, even neuroscientist doesn't narrow it down enough. How she's presenting herself is as a neuropsychologist. Okay, this isn't just dealing with the neurological and cognitive functions of the brain as as a doctor would, perhaps, as talking about how drugs affect the neurological makeup of the brain or something like that. Okay, she's talking about sociology. She's talking about psychology and how it pertains to neuroscience. So she's acting as a neuropsychologist.
Cruelty, I guess, the book it's about atrocities, sure, it's about harm doing. It's about human evil, I guess. So that makes it a really, really huge topic. There's been lots of books on this, evolutionary psychology, social psychology.
Bingo. Evolution of psychology, social psychology. She's a neuroscientist. This is neuropsychology, and she's downplaying the other parts of psychology and focusing on this very eugenic perspective. This is the eugenicist perspective. This is the LGBT feminist / eugenicist perspective of neuropsychology.
Religion, you name it, they've all talked about it. But for all those books, very few of them have actually mentioned the human brain, which is kind of odd, really, because that's the mechanism. It's the means by which we express cruelty and everything else. And it's not only the mechanism, but it's a mechanism which is constrained. It's got weaknesses, it's got strengths, it operates in certain ways, but not others. So I thought, as a neuroscientist, that it would be interesting to look at that in terms of those constraints and say, well, maybe this will shed some light on the problem of cruelty. And that's what I've tried to do. Cruelty, of course, it's a bleak book. There's no getting away from that. But I'm not altogether despairing because I'm a bit of a science optimist. The neurosciences, the modern neurosciences that we have nowadays are so powerful and have such amazing tools that I really am hopeful that we can at least begin to reduce this problem of cruelty. I think if we can bring to bear what we already know about the brain, what we already know about cruelty, put those two together, drive further research, that we really have a chance of doing something about this human misery.
This is exactly the problem with Ivy League schools, with people with quote-unquote expert power, which is really perceived expert power. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to figure out her argument is inferior to the arguments you've heard me make. Sometimes I repeat the same arguments in different ways. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that she's way the fuck off. I mean, there are little kids that can tell you, well, what do you mean we don't have control over cruelty? I can make a decision whether to be mean to somebody or not to be mean. I mean, so how can a little kid be right and an Oxford, university researcher and a neuroscientist from Oxford be wrong? How is that possible, right? Well, this is part of an agenda. These people are all, they're concerned with making money. They're concerned with their political movements, and it has completely corrupted, their politics, their presentation. And it's turned science into pseudoscience. This is what's wrong with mental health. This is what's wrong with modern neuroscience. And you see how at one point she said, well, there's powerful tools in neuroscience that have allowed us this and that and so on and so forth. Absolutely, there's a genetic component to behavior. But to sell it as if magically it is the determinant in the majority of cases is insanity. It is absolutely nuts. I'll give you an example. Right now, I feel like slapping the first feminist whore I fucking see and beating her to death. Does that mean that I'm going to do it? No. I'm probably going to pass her by on the street and not do anything, I have a choice to be cruel or not to be cruel. I mean, this is absolute madness. Are some people slightly more inclined to be aggressive than others? Of course. Just look at the military, right? There's a bunch of complete pussies. People who are inclined to be a complete wet vagina. They go into the military and they learn how to man up. I mean, to say, well, let's address the genetic components with drugs instead of addressing the nurture is madness. It is madness. It is, it's just insane. It's hard to even compare it to something because it's so ridiculous by itself. Someone is having a bad day and then you just give them powerful antipsychotics or something. It's madness. Just crazy. And look at even the look in her eyes, right? She looks disturbed. And you see a lot of these people, they're disturbed. And also this is very objective, right? Whether or not she's being cruel is objective, because I'll say she's being cruel. But, there's lesbians and atheists and mental health, quote-unquote, professionals who say, well, she's just giving you, her honest opinion, and it's very helpful and insightful, I thought. So even cruelty in many cases, perhaps not all, but definitely in many cases, is subjective. But she's selling as if she knows for sure. She has thoroughly defined cruelty, that she has solved the nature versus nurture problem, or she's on the verge of it, or she believes she has insights into it that most people don't have because she's a neuroscientist, which she brought up. So she highlighted her expert power to throw people off. She did it twice. She said, as a neuroscientist. Then later on, she said, we have powerful tools in neuroscience. She's saying, look, I'm the expert. You're not. Don't you think of disagreeing with me. And of course, she has a bunch of people who are going to stick up for her, for their petty political reasons as a result of their complexes. So what you see is these effeminate, gender feminist guys and these sissy, tomboy type gender feminist females teaming up with atheists, teaming up with eugenicists, teaming up with the LGBT community and Satanists. Yes, Satanists. There's a lot more of them than you think. you know, and they're doing it for the purpose. You know what, let me address that real quick, because I think a lot of you have trouble with that Satanist thing. So we'll go Satanist statue unveiled. We'll go to a place where there's not that many white people, because a lot of these Satanists are white people. We'll talk about Detroit. Okay, what happens when they unveiled a Satanist statue in Detroit?
Hundreds of people turned out tonight for the unveiling of a very controversial statue.
Yeah, it really is. The Satanic Temple of Detroit revealed the 1-ton bronze statue. Their message, they say, more about laws protecting religious freedom than about Satan. Priya Mann joins us live. Priya, I know there were some protesters out there this evening. Did the event remain calm?
Hundreds of Satanists in black Detroit. I don't want to hear anybody ever say that Satanists aren't everywhere and that, oh, I'm overreacting. This is fucking Detroit. You know, black people typically call police, for example, devils. Lil Boosie songs, devils get up off me. You know? This is black Detroit. Imagine somewhere like San Francisco with a huge white LGBT liberal satanic feminist population. You're talking tens of thousands of Satanists in the San Francisco area. Easy, easy. Especially with the prison gangs and you know, and the heavy metal and so on, and other liberal you know, arts and sciences and entertainment forms. Okay, so yes, absolutely, we are being told what to do in society by people with perceived expert power, and they're in these little sissy secret societies in these Ivy League schools, not just here in America, but in Oxford, you know, and in the UK, where Masonry is from in the first place. It's not a coincidence that she's a gender feminist eugenicist using mental health to push her agenda, and she's from where Masonry is from in the first place. I don't think you people truly grasp the dangers of allowing mental health to falsify evidence, fabricate studies, and to pretend that behavior is almost completely biological. The deeper implications of that is saying that every race that has succeeded because of superior genes, superior DNA, and that there's very little environmental factors, you know, that you know, calculate into the equation. That is the deeper implications. And for you not to see that, it's like, my goodness, there couldn't be a more racist thing to say. You know, for some trailer trash guys say, I hate darkies. You know, that's fucking racist, yeah. But it's nowhere near as racist as pseudo-scientific racism under the guise of scientific racism. Nowhere near as racist. You know, these guys in trailer parks will probably never even get in a fight with a black guy in their entire life. But these eugenicists kill 43 billion babies every year alone, not to mention 500,000 people with psychiatry every year, you know? And these people are disproportionately black. Black people are disproportionately diagnosed with schizophrenia, for example. I mean, it is just, you know, it's just crazy. We are living in the most cruel times. And the irony of her talking about human dignity in that one article on Huffington Post, her talking about cruelty in this Oxford University. Now this is Oxford academic, Oxford University Press YouTube channel. I mean, I don't think you people truly understand. This is not just some crazy feminist saying this. This is a crazy feminist who has a lot of backing, a lot of support, a lot of followers, and other feminist scum will run behind her and say, she's right. She's right. We should listen to her. I mean, you people just don't get it, man. And the most profitable industry is pushing Satanism, textbook Satanism, eugenics, textbook eugenics. It's crazy, man. And they don't want you to call it like you see it. You know, I forgot what the saying is. You see, you call a horse or something. You know, you call a square. I forgot what the saying is. Wherever that saying goes, you call it what it is. You know, if the shoe fits, wear it. That kind of thing. You know, this is exactly textbook eugenics, textbook eugenic arguments, textbook scientific racism. But you just don't get it
because she's acting nice.